to Horror Hangout podcast where free bearded film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time. My name is Luke Condor with Kate, and I'm joined by my regular co-hosts, Mr.
Ben Errington
and Mr.
Andy Conduit Turner. Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Well, hello.
The whole gang's back together after a couple of weeks of us all being dead busy with work and having a billion movies to watch.
A billion?
Yeah.
We watched a billion movies.
We only managed about a dozen. Failed, really, on the scale of a billion. Done really badly.
Are there a billion movies?
Yeah.
Yeah?
If you, yeah, probably.
A billion's loads.
Yeah, but there's loads of movies there. I mean, if you count YouTube videos as movies?
No.
Oh.
I'm at the Academy. No.
Sorry. That goes
into Christopher Nolan. That's all that's left.
Do you count all the videos on my phone as movies? Yeah. They're great.
Billion on there alone.
Exactly. I've got to upgrade my storage.
Every individual film as every individual frame as a film in itself.
Yeah.
Every frame's a painting.
Yeah.
There we go. We've learned something today. How is everybody? Well, I hope.
Yes.
Not bad.
Well.
Not bad. This
not bad.
This has been a weird week for us because we're doing an entire festival. So we spent a lot of week just watching movies from this festival.
I know. The first time this podcast has done something like this, but hopefully the first time of many. We'd like to do something like this again because it's been fun.
Officially dabbled in legitimate film journalism. We've had, if you've been following the feed, we've interviewed a couple of directors and everything. Some of the directors for the movies were kind enough to come and have a chat with us.
Yeah,
really nice.
That's on the feed. Bonus episodes. But yeah, we're going to talk
Bonusode.
about bonusode. Sorry, the bonusode.
Yeah, the bonusode klaxon has been ringing off the hinges.
We're thinking about making an official bonusode klaxon, Luke. Me and Andy discussed this, where all three of us wail like a banshee, and then we mix them all together. We'll work out what note to wail, and then
Tell me. Do you want a minor third, sharp seventh? What do you want?
I think Andy's gonna be the bass.
Okay, all right.
Oh, that's the brown note.
Yeah.
Is that Chris? Nolan? Hang on a minute, Hans Zimmer's in the house. What's going on? Yeah, so we'll create an official bonusode klaxon. That could be fun. Who knows? Maybe we'll create some other audio stings for various parts of the show.
You come and join us in a year or so. We'll have a whole soundboard. Come on.
Yeah, so when you
go on. Well, I was just going to say we could do voicemails. We could take some voicemails. There's like a website for podcasts where people can call in from anywhere in the world and leave a voicemail for us.
I love it.
We should have known about that before I did that incredibly complex way of doing it for the 200th episode.
Yeah, of course.
Should have done some degree of research rather than just getting everyone who got in contact to send it on, if they could, a completely different file sharing format. Yeah, some people just phoned me, some people got on Skype, some people sent me over Facebook. If I'd done any research, I could have used this technology to my advantage. But there we go. Next time we'll get the voicemails on.
Yeah.
Get the bloody voicemails out. Get your voicemails out, sunshine. That'd be nice. I was thinking maybe have a soundboard. We go, it's time to rate the film, and it's just Luke saying, rate good or rate bad. I mean, you could say it live, but it'd be nice to have the exact delivery.
A little sting of you saying that you're Ben Warm on something. Me claiming not to have ever claimed to be in a particular profession that I'm not.
Yeah, he's saying B minus. Just have Andy saying "mun," and then whenever you can say, I don't know, highwayman or something, you just press that button at the end. Highwayman.
Yeah. Did you say
unnecessarily
unnecessarily
shortening something?
Basically, you'll get to a point where you just go, I've had enough of this podcast. Just play my sound. Just play my rating at the end of it, which is, I thought it was all right. I'd give it a B minus. Yeah.
It'd be perfect if one of us is ever sick or on holiday. We'll never need to make someone's away again.
What was that? Like eating a yogurt at the end?
No, rating a yogurt.
Rating a
B
yogurt.
minus.
Yogurts are good though. Do you know what?
Well, not all of
I
them. Some of them are like a B minus.
I don't know. I reckon yogurts is one of
All
those things
yogurts
where
are good.
most of them are pretty good.
Like all dogs go to heaven. All yogurts are pretty good.
Yeah, I don't reckon I've ever had a yogurt and gone absolutely not.
Well, if
I've
it's
always
off,
gone.
it's gone off. Which
I know
good
it's a
point.
horror movie
Good point,
podcast,
good
but I'm
point.
going to quickly on the point of yogurts. Yogurts are fine unless they're presenting themselves as a true contender in the dessert forum. Yogurt on its own, yogurt as a standalone, absolutely fine. But yogurt when you could have ice cream, fuck off, yogurt.
Have I ever told you?
Yeah.
I mean, we're really going off topic now, and I do apologize. The yogurt story from when I was in school.
The yogurt story.
No,
Have I
lean
told
it
you
in.
this? The
Come
yogurt
on.
story, right? So there was a teacher. She had a bit of a problem with me. She always used to. If I used to disagree with anything she said, she'd like make a proper example of me, and I hated it.
Neil Riss's
And-
Radford character, if you know what you mean.
Yeah. I don't. What was her name? I think it was Mrs. James.
Ratchet.
She was Welsh. It's got nothing to do with it, but she was Welsh. And
Just to
she
paint a
said,
picture of
right,
of
today-
her character.
she's like,
Do
right
a
today.
voice.
Oh God, I can't do that. Right today, we're gonna do your. I can't. I won't. She was like, we're gonna make yogurt. Okay, like bacteria yogurt, whatever. So we've got some ingredients here of stuff you need. The first ingredient is yogurt, and I was like, what? Hang on a minute. You can't make something and the ingredient you're using to make it is the thing you want at the end. That's ridiculous. And she's like, no, you need it to. And then she was hitting me with some science stuff. The bacteria needs to.
How old were you at this time? Were you
It was
rallying?
secondary school.
Okay.
But for some reason, I don't know whether just weeks and weeks of her belittling me had like built up. But for some reason, I was like, I'm not having this. This is fundamentally ridiculous. This isn't science. This is a waste of time. And like, I probably we just went head to head, not physically, obviously, just like that. And I was kicked out of class, and I never got to make yogurt because
I didn't need to make yogurt. Just go.
No, it was right
You
there.
had yogurt in your hands.
There was literally a pot of yogurt there. And I'm like, you idiots, what are you doing? It's like going, oh, what are we going to make today? Lasagna. We start off with lasagna, right? And then add a bit of cheese on it.
That is how you
Oh,
make lasagna. You grow it. You start off with one lasagna, and then you
Yeah.
grow it to be bigger.
I just like
Grow
to
an
plant
extra
the
bit.
lasagna seeds in the garden. And they all come up.
They ding when they're ready to be pulled out.
Yeah, exactly. And then, yeah, delicious.
Yeah.
So I love how we're eventually evolving into like some kind of teacher vendetta podcast. You got any teachers that you had a massive problem with, like really affected your life negatively?
Yeah, but I'd like to not bring that up in the public.
Oh, right, okay. That's for therapy. Okay,
Yeah.
that's for quiet therapy time.
We'll work on him. We'll work on him, listeners. Luke will air his like teaching grievances at some point.
Okay. Horror news for this week. Pretty thin on the ground. Talk about an anniversary though, because this was pretty exciting. Buffy the Vampire Slayer premiered 25 years ago this week.
This
10th
is
of
the
March.
original movie, right?
No, the show, not the
God, it's
movie.
even worse.
Really? Are you sure?
Yeah.
That's what happened.
10th
Wow.
of March 1997 was when Buffy the Vampire Slayer premiered.
Jesus Christ.
What is everybody's?
That could be right.
Everybody got a that can't be right. Hang on a minute. Has everybody got a good relationship with the show? I named my childhood dog Buffy.
I used to love it. I mean, it was on as soon as I got home from school. I'd grab a yogurt, fruit corner, strawberries from the fridge,
Yeah.
and then Buffy would be on. I think at like 6 to half 6-ish or something like that. But
It was on
I think it was
fairly
Sky
early,
One.
wasn't it?
Yeah, Sky One. I think it was maybe. I can't remember.
Buffy the movie was 1992.
Okay, yeah, I'd been like 4 at that point. So, but yeah, the theme tune is excellent.
Oh, the theme tune is absolutely iconic.
Easy to sing along to. It was great. I mean, I have to say I preferred Angel. I've kind of went along because I like the Demons in LA kind of vibe.
I never ever watched Angel. I never
Angel's
migrated
great. So
over.
many good moments, and it ends in a really good way as well.
Just love everybody. Love Willow, Xander. Love Giles, who obviously we will mention on this podcast as well. Just like amazing roles, and just obviously Spike. Just loved it. It was it was great. It was pretty deep as well, you know, for a lot of the sort of subject matter I used to tackle. It wasn't always just Buffy kills a bloody vampire every week. Obviously, that
sometimes be a werewolf.
Sometimes be a bloody
There was
werewolf.
there was the episode where her mum dies.
Yeah.
I remember that being super emotionally charged for a 6 o'clock yogurt viewing. But
6 o'clock yogurt. How did you make that yogurt? How did you start making it? Did you start with yogurt?
We start with the core ingredient of all yogurts, which of course is yogurt. Can't be messing around with curds and whey. That's like that's only for master yogurt makers.
Oh my god.
Yogurtier.
Is it like, what's that thing when you make like bread, but there's something that is like an ingredient for
yeast.
I'm thinking of something in particular though. That's right. We'll get back to it. Covering the important things. So
Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
25 years.
How does it hold up, guys, in your opinion? Because horror blind spot here. I have seen one episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The one where there is a ventriloquist dummy. That is the one that I have seen. I think I was in and out of the room for that, probably fetching a yogurt.
If I were you, I would just there's probably like a best of episodes list. There'd be like the top 10 episodes. And it'd be like the one will be like the gentlemen, these creepy guys who don't say anything, who take people's voices. There's the musical episode. And the musical episode in any series is one of the best episodes. Mm-hmm. There's a few really good Monster of the Week style stories. I don't know if I'd say go for the entire thing because there's a lot of it.
That's always a challenge when there's a lot. Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just catch some other things because it wasn't that I didn't want to watch it. I think I just missed the first wave. We didn't have Sky at our house. It wasn't didn't have that. Was
it always on Sky?
I think it was on BBC Two eventually.
Because
right?
It's a Channel 4.
It feels like it would have been
a channel.
I remember, wasn't there like a particular time where it was like Simpsons, followed by Fresh Prince, followed by, might have been a different channel, followed by Buffy.
That makes sense, yeah.
And then I think it was a Friday night because at 9 o'clock on BBC Two was X-Files as well. It was like, what are you doing? You coming out on Friday night? Absolutely not. I'm just going to sit here, make a lovely bum groove in the sofa.
My 6 p.m. viewing, it was less horror and more sci-fi. I remember growing up, because I'm older than you guys, but that age when you'd be having those, when I was that particular age, it was Quantum Leap at our house of a Tuesday.
Oh, yes.
Seeing what Dr. Sam Beckett was up to.
Fantastic.
Traveling about in time mostly.
Should we do a Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode, or maybe should we watch the movie and do a Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie episode?
Would be good.
I know some people rate the movie quite highly, but I don't really remember it all that much. Remember there's a guy in it called Pike, and for the TV show they were like, I like that name, but it's missing something. Spike.
His name's Sam Pike, just shortened Sam, but Spike.
Yeah.
Very nice. David Arquette's in it apparently. In the old movie.
Maybe we'll do Buffy the Vampire Slayer the movie.
That could be. Hilary Swank is in it as well. Donald Sutherland.
All-star cast.
Listen to this. Uncredited Ben Affleck as basketball player number 10.
Oh, yeah.
Ricky Lake.
Go Ricky.
Seth Green.
Oh
my God. Thomas Jane of Deep Blue Sea fame.
Oh my goodness.
How are all these people in this
not seen
film?
This?
Was it about the film or the TV show?
That's it. This is the film. Right. If you guys are up for it, Buffy the Vampire Slayer next month?
Yeah, Buffy the Vampire Slayer next month.
Let's just do it. Look at that cast. And let's just do, oh my God, Rutger Hauer.
No, I don't even. No.
You're saying names.
I just say names. David the Coffey's in it as well. It's like a kid at school is bullshitting his way through lunch, just making up so much.
Yeah. Donald Trump's in it. Yeah, he's in it at the start. Yeah. Macaulay Culkin. Yeah, they're all in it.
Yeah, the kid who's been like, oh yeah, my dad works in America. I've seen Gremlins 3.
Yeah.
He's seen it. Yeah, it's been released in America for months.
Yeah. Shit, mate.
Shit, mate. Talking shite. Okay, what other news bits? Halloween Ends has wrapped filming, and apparently Evil Dead Rise has also wrapped filming, or at least maybe even completely finished everything. What does it mean what do they say when everything's done and dusted? That's it.
In the can.
In the can.
In the can makes it sound like they've got all
It's in the bin.
the dailies. It's in the bin. It's in the toilet.
Yeah, it's almost ready.
Halloween
they've got
ends.
all the dailies in the film canisters. Or does it mean that it's been through post production and they've got it in the final canister?
Yeah, it's all digital now, doesn't it? I know with games it's that they go gold, isn't it? But what is it with films now? Tell none of us went to film school.
It's online. Did he finish games before they put them out now?
No, that's optional.
Okay. Yeah.
That's optional. I mean, it just depends how they feel. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. I did put out on the Horror Hangout Instagram this week, thinking up a way for Michael Myers to be actually killed. Had a few answers. Johan, friend of the show, Johan of Enigmatic Productions, said, "Nuke him from orbit. It's the only way to be sure." Obviously quoting a famous line from Aliens.
Nuke him from orbit.
Nuke him from orbit. And I think Troy Burch mentioned just put him in a bath of acid. Maybe coax him in.
Bath of acid, yeah.
Puts him in bath of acid.
If you put like a little Laurie Strode like visage, like I don't know how you get like a picture of her in there. But yeah, get her to jump in.
Is she gonna
like a picture of her at the bottom of the bath of acid? She's in there. Go try and get her, like a dog seeing its own reflection in the acid.
Do that thing like with a dog when you have a stick and you kind of pretend to throw it. Like you have Laurie next to the bath of acid and you pretend to throw her. You jump straight in.
Yeah, I mean, get him.
She's gonna die as well, isn't she?
No, you don't throw her in.
Just the cardboard cut out of her.
Oh no, I reckon at the end of this film, I don't know, I've just got a feeling it's gonna be a moment where she gets him and she's like, finally I got him, but then she looks down and he's got her too.
I think it'd be more of in Independence Day where he flies his plane into the ship.
Yeah.
Having one of those moments.
Yeah.
She's going to be in a plane and he's going to be in an alien spaceship, and she's going to fly it right into it.
And he finally takes his mask off because he can't see.
Yeah. What this says at the end? Happy Independence Day. Why not? She says that and she flies.
Hello, boys. I'm back.
Yeah. This quotes another film.
Into a big space laser.
And everyone's confused, and you go, just deal with it. Just live with it. Whatever happens, everyone's not going to be satisfied. So let's just deal with it.
Is she going to say evil dies tonight, or is she going to say evil died tonight?
Evil finally dies for real this time.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Until next
tonight.
Time.
Yeah.
On CNBC.
CNBC. The only other bit of news I've got is that apparently Rob Zombie's The Monstrous movie has officially received a rating of PG, which does mean it's not going to be
proper good
standard proper good. It's not going to be standard Rob Zombie fare, but in the world of the Monsters, which I guess is kind of a positive. I think a lot of people were worried about that, and
I think the Monsters should just be nice.
Where was all the backlash when they did the banana splits and they made it horror?
Oh yeah,
full on horror. Where's all the banana splits fans? What are they doing?
Where are they? Come out of the woodwork, were you banana splits fans, and pipe up for your film. And also Cassandra Peterson, aka Elvira, has been cast in the movie as Barbara Carr, the #1 real estate agent. Real estate. Basically, I'm just saving time, right? Smashing words together. Yeah. Real estate agent in all of Mockingbird Heights. So that it was pretty cool to see her out of her Elvira garb. That's pretty much it. Thin on the ground in terms of news.
Nice.
What you've been watching? Endless FrightFest movies.
Oh, sorry, I did forget the Batman. I did watch the Batman, but we can't really talk about it yet until Andy's.
I haven't seen it.
Andy's seen it.
Like I say, I know spoilers for Batman. I'm guessing he probably wins at the end.
Oh, at what cost?
At what cost? I would say to anyone who's not sure, it is a really good film. But I think the first 45 minutes, the Batman introductory stuff is excellent. Like, it's the most amazing Batman stuff I think I've seen on screen. Like, I don't want to spoil but the way they introduced him and the way and his relationship with the city and the police, it's just done so well. Like, it's Matt Reeves knows how to make film. I was actually on the way out of the cinema, I was talking to the guys I went to watch it with, and we were saying how it feels like the first movie in a long time where everything felt so purposely put together. and not like slipshod, where a lot of films kind of feel a little bit kind of scattered a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Matt Reeves, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he wants.
It's the real
and
deal.
he just wants a lot of it. That's the only thing. It's a long film.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm just need to carve the time out to just go.
Yeah.
But I really desperately want to go. It's just that things are busy.
Well, I think it's going to be on streaming pretty soon, right? I think I saw.
I think it might be. Did they say May? I think it might be May, or maybe earlier than that. I might have.
I'm going to try and get to it before May, but it's good to have that light at the end of the tunnel. If I really do fuck this, then I can see it at home in May.
I kind of think I don't want to see it in IMAX. A lot of people who've seen it in IMAX have been saying it's an experience. I would like to see it again.
Just go to the regular cinema and sit closer.
Yeah, and listen harder.
What are you doing? You enjoying this film? Just listening as hard as possible.
I'm just giving myself the IMAX experience.
I can't even know don't know where to look. Up, down, left, right. Difficult. Yeah. Andy, you said you've seen some stuff. Did you say?
Oh yeah, I've just been rattling off a couple of other random movies I thought I hadn't quite watched enough. So I've been blitzing through a load of films. I watched something called The Initiation, which for a second, for a good little few minutes, I was like, is this not actually a horror film? It's actually about how horrible college boys get away with being rapey. But then a guy with a hammer turns up and it's okay. It is a horror film after all. So that was all right. And then I watched Blumhouse's Fantasy Island.
Oh yeah. Any good? That's on Netflix, I think. Isn't it?
It's sorry. Yeah, it's on Netflix now. I watched that. It's all right, It's not what I expected. It's a strange film. Strange property to reimagine as a horror, but it's got some interesting ideas to it. And then I watched something called Dashcam, but not that one, not the Dashcam that we are awaiting for a cinema release of. I saw something called Dashcam was up and it was available. I was like, oh, okay, but it's not that one. It's like a thriller about it's like a screen movie, effectively, mostly a screen movie, about someone who's actually editing together Dashcam footage. And there's a bit of a conspiracy there, a bit of a thriller about it.
Oh, it's a screen movie, like screen, like a computer screen movie.
Yeah, like an Unfriended.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's it was all right, but not the Dashcam film I'm more excited to watch. But yeah, saw those on top of all the other fun things we have been watching for FrightFest.
I wonder when we are going to get to watch Dashcam. I really want to watch that one.
Is it getting a cinema release this year?
I think so. Yeah, I remember seeing some details on the movie. It was
festival's end of last year, and I think it's getting some form of cinema run this year.
Yeah, I'll try and find. Oh, here we go. Host director's new film lands UK release. Rob Savage's Dashcam will be released Friday, June 3rd.
Oh, not too far away.
Not too far away. Could be worse, Could be worse. Not too long to wait. I didn't see all that much this week. I did watch, because after watching Batman, I was like, well, I want a bit more Colin Farrell, but maybe Colin Farrell where I kind of recognize him. And in a kind of like Batman esque link, it's also directed by Joel Schumacher. That is the movie Phone Booth. Which I've not seen in a little while. But oh my God, going back to it, I remembered it's like the perfect time capsule for like early 2000s technology and clothes. And it's like, it's 2002, which in your head is like, 2002. Oh yeah, we all know what it's like back then. Oh my God, it feels like it's insane. Like how different life seems to be.
When you reviewed it, then I saw it popped from my letterbox, and just Colin Farrell's hair on that poster.
Yeah, his hair is looking spectacular.
You think 2002? You think people had the same haircuts as they did now? They didn't.
Yeah, no. It is like one of the most. It's honestly for the running time. It's like one of the most tightly wound, perfectly written little thrillers.
It's written by Larry Cohen as well.
Yeah. I did see that. Yeah, so he wrote stuff like the stuff. The stuff Maniac
Serpent.
Cop, Q the Winged Serpent. So you get that sort of vibe. There is definitely like a sort of grimy New York vibe, even though on the surface it's quite glossy. but then it kind of represents the character of that Colin Farrell plays, Stu Shepherd, where he's like a PR dude, and he's got the talk and the suits and all that stuff. But deep down, he's a womanizing little slug. The only problem with this film, I think, is over too soon. It like dials right up to the point where you're like, holy shit, what's going to happen? And then it kind of just ends. It kind of just goes, nah, you know what? It's got you've had enough phone booth. It's got a great opening, ending sort of like not twist, but like shocking moment. But also one of my favorite lines in it is when a woman's trying to get to use the phone, and Colin Farrell's obviously using the phone, and she bangs on the glass, and then she goes, "Oh, you made me hurt my dick hand."
Dick hand.
Which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Larry heard that in real life and was like, I'm putting that into a film.
Putting that in.
Dick hand.
I forgot Forrest Whitaker was in it as well. I knew Kiefer Sutherland, or the voice of Kiefer Sutherland was, but
in talking about Colin Farrell movies, I think my favorite one has got to be In Bruges.
Yeah,
In Bruges?
It's great.
Definitely.
So good.
So good.
I have to watch that every so often. Just such a delightful movie. Even though it's about some horrible things.
Perfect, isn't it? It's just the perfect little film.
Yeah. And is it Ralph Fiennes as well? Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing character. But that is pretty much it, because obviously time has been taken up by watching a load of old FrightFest.
As much of FrightFest as we could possibly get in our eyes.
Assume. Full up. Are you full up?
Yeah. I'm satisfied. I've had a pleasant sufficiency. I'm not too much. I'm not bloated from all this FrightFesting.
Yeah.
I feel like I could go for a couple more. I've not had as much to eat from the FrightFest buffet as you guys. So I think if the link's still working, I think I might still, depending on what you guys review today, I might try and watch a couple more.
Yeah. So FrightFest Glasgow happened only just last weekend. So from the Thursday the 10th of March to Saturday the 12th of March, 12 movies. 12, is it 12? Yeah, 12 movies were shown. I think there was like interviews with the directors afterwards as well and stuff like that.
To Q&As and everything that were live. Yeah.
So the UK's #1 horror and fantasy film festival, back in person for the first time at Glasgow Film Theatre. It's been FrightFest's second home for 17 glorious years. So obviously the #1 home is in London. So yeah, we were lucky enough to view a lot of the films here in a very like varied bunch of movies as well, and varied bunch of movies like different genres within the horror spectrum. So I guess what we're going to do is talk through all of them, give our thoughts and opinions on it, not spoil them, I guess, as much.
Yeah.
But also probably we're not going to give them a direct rating either. I don't think we're just going to talk about them in general. And
I think maybe we can recommend a few that we think for people when they can watch these movies.
I think we're going to recommend a few, and we might do a mini award ceremony at the end of the episode to try and highlight some of our favorite performances or the favorite film in general. So that'd be good. I guess the best place to start would be with the film that was screened. Well, the film on the list is the first one we saw, which was screened first on Friday, which is a movie called Let the Wrong One In.
Was this the festival opener?
No. So I think there was a festival opener on Thursday evening, which was a late edition, a movie called Night's End. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to see that one. So that opened proceedings on Thursday, but Let the Wrong One In. I am gonna say Let the Right One In every single time. So this film is directed by Conor McMahon, stars Carl Rice, Ewan Duffy, Anthony Head. Synopsis is: when Matt's estranged older brother Deco turns up at his flat looking terrible one morning, Matt figures he's just on another typical loser bender, but Deco's symptoms turn out to be more than just a wicked hangover, and his newly grown fangs leave little doubt he's fallen victim to a group of vampires terrorizing Dublin.
Wow. Yeah.
What a concept.
Yeah. We've all seen this one, right? Let the wrong one in.
Yeah.
We sure have. So this is obviously a horror comedy. Probably leaning heavily into the comedy because I laughed a lot during this.
Some of the gags were really funny.
Yeah.
Like genuinely funny.
Yeah. It was good. I thought it was great. I thought all the performances were great. Obviously, Anthony Head is in it as a vampire hunter. Henry, which was a lovely surprise.
Yeah.
He loves trains, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What did you guys think of this one?
I mean, so it's I guess you kind of have a Shaun of the Dead kind of vibe in the terms of like it's a horror, like a pretty normal horror concept, but it's done in a kind of very silly way. It's very gaggy, and which I loved. And just to give you like a sense of the kind of gags in there, there's a bit where the Deco, who's a vampire, and he doesn't know what he's capable of, and the main character is telling him to turn into a vampire bat, and he tries really hard, and he lets out a fart, and like I was just like giggling at that for so long because it was so silly, but
it was.
But that's kind of level of humor, and I think it's this film that had like super inventive, like the whole idea of the main nest of vampires was like a hen do that got bitten whilst out in Romania or somewhere because he got cheap flights over there, and now like they were kind of taking over the city, still in their hen do gear. It's pretty entire thing. I think one woman was like, did someone have like a penis balloon or something?
Yeah, I think there was penis balloons, L plates, all the classic hen-do garb, which was lovely. But yeah, I think like every character is great. I mean, Ewan Duffy as Deco in particular is great.
He's phenomenal.
His face really suited it as well.
He's such a good character, someone who he's done bad things, and in lots of ways he's an awful person, but you still quite like him. You still quite like him an awful lot.
Yeah. What I like about this is with a horror comedy, there's a fine line, isn't there? Because sometimes it kind of tries to take the piss out of certain horror tropes and gets it wrong because you're just like, okay, you're taking a piss out of the horror tropes, but they're still fundamentally enjoyable. But with this, it just leans so heavily into those horror tropes and isn't like ashamed to just be incredibly silly with pretty much everything, every character and every turn.
It leans into the horror tropes really well and like plays with like vampire mythology and so on. But at the same time, I think a lot of the comedy comes from the delivery of the characters in that situation. And all of the characters are really quite compelling. Even some of the side characters, like Deco's girlfriend is brilliant. And just the conversation between Matt, a main character, and some of the others, like the way he talks to his mom and, the way he talks to his, I think you owe your brother an apology. I'm not going to apologize. Okay, I will. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed watching this movie. It's just a nice, easy watch. And I know whenever you have a horror comedy, your mind immediately is drawn to, Shaun of the Dead was popular. And for a period of time, not long after Shaun of the Dead's release, I think we did get a lot of things that were directly riffing on that and trying to lean into that success. But I think this, and there are other examples too, but this is a great example of something that I don't feel like this is Shaun of the Dead but vampires. I think it has a great deal of its own personality and own identity behind it. I don't feel like someone is trying to do an Edgar Wright impression necessarily.
And I never really thought about What We Do in the Shadows as well. Obviously another vampire comedy. The only thing was the character of Nick in What We Do in the Shadows reminded me a little bit of Deco, where he was just like pretty keen to enjoy being a vampire or leaning into all the vampire-y stuff and then quickly realizing kind of sucks being a vampire. But I just loved when he was like stumbling home like after a night out and like always acting like he's got a hangover, but like, oh, the sun, Jesus Christ.
I love the vampires that are able to go outside as long as they have umbrellas.
Yeah.
Classic.
There was also like a Evil Dead 1 style special effects. Like there's a bit where I think
melty
a vampire
faces.
like it clay porridgey melty face bit. But also it's ridiculous at times. There's one bit where Anthony Head, he had a dead vampire and he was carrying it around his taxi. And there was a
yeah.
body, and he went around a corner, and they were just holding like a plastic skeleton on the other side, like
Yeah.
it had like turned to a skeleton. Yeah, it was really funny, really silly. I think I really like that tongue-in-cheek silliness quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely. And there was a particular scene as well, which I think I mentioned before, but which I was like proper cracking up at, is when Deco actually turns into a bat, but he's just a head with wings.
It's got such
honestly.
a specific face as well.
Yeah.
It's the best face for it. The actor that plays Deco has such a good,
he just
like,
suits
gormless
fangs.
sort of face.
He just suits fangs, and yeah, I highly recommend this, especially if you're into horror comedy. If you enjoy What We Do in the Shadows, obviously, which is very popular, the TV show at the moment as well. This is definitely something worth
I've got
checking out.
I've got for a couple of these films, not for all of them. I've got some name game. If you want to
go on.
What? No
just
way.
just the one,
Okay.
just the one.
Okay.
So 16-year-old Matt is a little too nice for his own good. And when he discovers that his older, estranged brother Deco has turned into a North Korean politician, he has to decide whether to let him in. Do you know what that one would be?
Let the wrong
Let the
in?
wrong in.
in.
Let the Kim Jong-un.
Ah,
Well. You've outdone yourself. I mean, you outdo yourself every week, but
Thank you.
there we go. Thank you. Let the Kim Jong-un.
so overall, are we quite unanimous on this one?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, like for everything, there's going to be I think for every one of the films we talk about, there's going to be if you like X, you'll probably enjoy this. But I think for your general horror fan, if you have even the slightest interest in horror comedy, if you're not a purist, I like my horror to be serious, thank you. I like horror and taxes, and these are the two things. If that isn't you, then you'll have a good time with this. Like it's a lot of fun and you'll enjoy it. Seek this one out for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I've got a name game, just popped into my head.
Oh, God.
16-year-old Matt discovers his older estranged brother has been bitten by vampire Cisco, and he's facing a dilemma.
Let the thong song in.
Let the thong song in.
Thong song in. That's quite hard to say.
What a banger.
Yeah.
There we go. Sorry. Yeah, so I think we're all pretty happy with that. We all enjoyed it. And we'll move on to the next movie, which is A Cloud So High, which is his world premiere at FrightFest last weekend. Directed by Christopher Lee Parson, stars John Savage, Aaron Perillo, Jessica Lundy. Synopsis is, while living under the roof of his aging, disgraced ex-cop father Gene, mentally unstable war veteran Paul evolves from petty thief and ransacker to brutal killer.
Yeah.
Natural
this
evolution.
One, full disclosure, I think we got the screener of this one. It's got slid under the door at the last moment, right? So we haven't had a chance to perhaps digest this one quite as much. I was able to catch it though. I understand from a little bit of reading that this film has been in production for quite a long time. So passion project of writer-director. I'm afraid I don't have in front of me. If you have the creator's name on one of your many tabs, Ben, I want to make sure we name
Christopher
him
Lee Parson.
Christopher Lee Parson. So working on it for a number of years. It's done in kind of a mockumentary style. So it's cross between, there are some documents that come up on screen that show like a little bit of exposition and some of the stories that are going in there. It has a lot of interviews to camera spliced with some, dramatized acted scenes as well as as these interviews to camera. So it's got a very particular style in which this is delivered. Total contrast to the previous film we talked about. It is played very straight. I understand it's influenced very heavily by some of the real stories of the Golden State Killer in the US, the famous serial killings over there. It has some interesting elements to it. I think that the style of it will be a hit for a lot of people if you're a big fan of true crime and the way that true crime documentaries are quite often put together, but in a fictional sense. You'll get that vibe from this and you'll get something out of it. Full disclosure, I think some will find it a little bit more difficult to follow or get along with, but it's really great to see any film that, especially a creator has invested so long
it's a lot of time
in building. I'm not sure what the hurdles have been. I know a lot of time was invested apparently in getting a lot of the interview content done. But I imagine the last couple of years with coronavirus has probably added to that timeline as well. But yeah, congratulations for after what sounds like has been a labor of love getting out there.
Of course. How would you say this film was a horror movie? Because obviously for I've been reading about it. Was it just like a sort of psychological horror?
Yeah, I'd say it leads into the psychological horror. I say there are some touches to it which maybe imply that some viewers of the crimes presented feel they think it'd be a supernatural element. There's an element to it at one point where some of the talking heads and speakers indicate that, oh, hey, maybe this is a misunderstood character, and actually he was a psychic character who's preventing crimes from being committed. That's just it's a minor touch that happens there. Okay. Primarily, I think if you were approaching this on the strictest terms, you would say this is a mockumentary first and foremost, possibly a psychological thriller, maybe, with the way that the characters are portrayed. Obviously, the main character is quite disturbed, having had his from traumas from his time in the military. So it's a lot driven into that. There aren't necessarily traditional horror scares and so on. And it's presented quite openly as to what this is. So you don't have the chasing down of actual
victims,
portrayed violence and victims. It's not presented in the same narrative sense as
a young actor as well, Aaron Perillia, who plays Paul Young. He says 22 years old here in terms of. Yeah,
I don't know how old is that. How old he is now on his. I guess
profile. how old the character is in this particular movie.
Yeah, so he strikes me as being quite a young guy. I'm not familiar with him in anything else either, but yeah, it's an interesting concept. I would say definitely one to take a look at if you're one of the big true crime heads. So you all over, Ben. I know you love a night crawler and there's a murder in that hotel program.
I did enjoy. Well, night. What's it? Night Stalker.
Night Stalker.
Night Stalker. Yeah. Any name game, Luke?
What? No.
No. Okay, I got one. While living under the roof of his aging, disgraced stepfather, Shaun of the Dead fame, evolves from petty thief and ransacker to zombie killer alongside the actor who played his stepdad.
So a cloud so nigh.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where that came from. I think as soon as you said Shaun of the Dead talking about the last film, my brain started ticking. There we go.
Okay, I'll do a quick one for you then. So the traumatized by his time in Soldier, the military wing of the electric company Shinra, the protagonist of Final Fantasy VII gets absolutely drugged off his nut.
A cloud so high.
A cloud so high.
Correct.
I love it when the name game in the answer is just the name of the film.
Yeah.
I feel like that's even better than a different one, if anything. Okay, so that was A Cloud So High. Next up, we have got a movie called Homebound, which is directed by Sebastian Godwin, who Andy was lucky enough to talk to quite extensively about this film. That is available as a bonus episode on the feed. If you're watching on YouTube, the video is also here on that platform, or there on that platform.
Wherever you're listening to this, you can also listen to that.
It's exactly. There we go.
It's context sensitive, is that?
Ashley. Oh, I struggle with this name. Ashlane Loftus, Tom Goodman Hill, Rafaela Chapman. This was the UK premiere of this film. Synopsis is: Richard decides to take his new girlfriend Holly home to meet his two estranged children, Anna and Ralph. With his ex-wife nowhere to be seen upon their arrival, the couple start trying to repair old wounds and bitter resentments. And the kids or off their bloody nut or something.
The kids are being very mysterious and wrong. And you're right. I interviewed the writer, director, Sebastian of this. And if you listen, Sebastian, thank you for being such a nice man. A pleasure to interview.
A lovely feel-good interview to listen to, which I did enjoy.
Oh, thanks, Ben.
Stellar work of serious film journalism, Mr. Andy Conduit.
Yeah, did my best. Wore a nice jumper and everything.
Got a nice jumper on today, is it?
Oh,
yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
It's a little waffle red number.
Waffle. Delicious.
Yeah, so I mean, I looked at some of Sebastian's other films, and he has history of writing his own work and also adapting short stories and classic literature. Some of his other films are actually available on his website. You'll see in the interview if you listen to it, he bases a lot on family dynamics and the horror that comes from family, sometimes with the involvement in children. In this particular story, there's a lot about the experience of a step parent. So in this case, Aisling Loftus's character coming in as like the new stepmom, who's never having met these kids, having now already married their dad, feeling like an outsider and not getting into it. And watching this movie, sorry, Ben, you go.
Sorry, did they get married like secretly?
I think they just got married. I'm not sure. I don't recall now if the length of their relationship is brought in there, but for some reason she hasn't had the opportunity to meet the kids beforehand. Yeah. And the things you get from this movie as you go, it's certainly not until the later portions. It's nothing that is, it's not that you get there and your kids are knife-wielding maniacs, like leaping out from under the beds and slashing at your feet like poor old Judd from Pet Sematary. It's got an unsettling vibe about this, and this comes up when I was discussing with Sebastian, and I hope he got to see this when he was at the UK premiere, looking at an audience watching this for the first time.
Oh yeah, because he did mention. Sorry, Andy. He did mention in the interview that he hadn't been in the same room as anybody else viewing this film before.
Yeah, he hadn't been able to see when they screened it in the US. Obviously,
that's right,
he was stuck not being able to travel. So this weekend just gone, he will have been able to see people react to the movie, and it's something I got watching it as well. Like I was joking, saying, this is a movie of red flags, and at what point the red flag would go up for you in this situation is an interesting thing to go through, because there are a couple of events that happen, and there's the kids are acting a bit funny, but then there are little things in there, like I don't think we specifically mentioned the ages of the children, but they are young teenagers, the two, and then there's a younger daughter as well, right? So yeah, at the outside, maybe the son is 14, 15, but they're all quite young. And then on the first night where they're having dinner, little things that I think they're not directly horror elements, but they start to just make the hairs on your neck stand up and start to look at it a bit sideways. Like the dad is,
what are you eating there?
Perfectly okay with kids. First, it's like, oh, we'll allow them to have a glass of wine. It is a celebration after all.
That's strange.
And then before you know it, he's pouring the kids shots of vodka, and you think,
party time.
And it is, and you can imagine being like the outsider in that situation. Like if you are an adult seeing children, but their parent is there, and it's like, do I say something?
How many times we've all been involved in, like, so as an outsider, suddenly being involved in a family dynamic and feeling uncomfortable with it just because they're obviously acting in ways that they've always acted or acted for years, and you there as an outsider just like, this is totally normal.
Have you ever been growing up? Have you ever been at your friend's house when they've had a row with their mum and dad?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so awkward, so awkward. I remember I had a I was like, I think we were wrestling, me and my friend, like doing the I think I scaled the top rope, which was just the corner of the bed, and did a diving headbutt onto my friend, and I knocked a tub of like wet look gel, which had the lid off for some reason, onto the ground. And my friend just completely dobbed me in, just went, "Oh, for God's sake, oh mum, you never guess what he's done." And so not only did I witness that, I got told off by the mum. That's even worse.
Got told off.
I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You're gonna clean this up." Well, you know.
Well, we were once staying at one of my friends' houses, and I think I got to see it full circle because we'd been teenage boys, so we'd basically made a right old mess around, and like we'd gone to bed having like we'd gone to bed like having like we'd gone to bed having like, you know, we'd cooked food, we'd left lights on, and things like that. But I'd woken, like we were sleeping over. We were sleeping over on like there's two of us on my friend's bedroom floor, sleeping there, and like our sleeping bags and everything. And then his mum and dad had come home late, and I woke up quite early first. They'd come home late at night, and I was hearing his mum and dad getting like angry about this downstairs. I could hear them going through saying like, all these lights on, there's like food in there's like
it's like bloody Blackpool illuminations in here.
Dirty dishes in the sink, the front door's unlocked, and like you could hear this coming up, and then it's like, oh no, this is going to be like someone's going to have a stern word with him later on. And then I think it was my friend's dad was the one that they were obviously so wound up about like having all this mess being made that they came upstairs and they had three sons, and they got them all up at whatever time it was. I'm not sure if it was late at night or like effectively early in the morning. And they got them all up, and they were obviously so angry. They didn't care they had friends sleeping over. They gave them such a telling off. And like,
where were you at that point?
I was still there. Like I was still there, like in my sleeping bed, in my sleeping bag, doing my best. I'm still asleep. Like
I'm still asleep.
That's
I'm having a lovely sleep here.
That's my way of getting away from like murderers and stuff. I'm just going to pretend I'm still asleep.
Oh, he's asleep. I'm going to murder him. That'd be out of order.
Well, he's not witnessed anything, so
yeah, exactly.
And it's got that kind of. Obviously, we were the children in that situation, but it's like in the film, you get that sense and that feeling of like, when would you say something about this? And you know, things continue to grow and continue to escalate in this one.
It's one of those relationships where obviously it seems like a bit of a whirlwind romance where they've obviously met each other, and that realization when someone is introduced to the person you love's life and you see them interacting with somebody, you might go, I've made a huge mistake. Because for some reason, just the two of us, it was lovely. It feels great. Suddenly his kids are involved, and you're like, the way he's interacting with them, you're like, oh my God, he might be a weirdo. How have I not noticed? How have I not noticed?
I've been blindsided by this. Yeah, and apparently both the lead actors have worked together as well. I think they've both been in might be Mr. Selfridge. It's like a big, you know, like a big high budget British TV drama that they're both in together.
The lead, Thomas Goodman Hill. I recognized him. I think he's had minor roles in quite a lot of sort of fairly big movies. I think he's in. No, I was going to say I think he's in something then, but I don't think he is.
Thomas Goodman Hill, I think, does a great job of being quite a sinister dad. You know, he is quite unsettling when he's trying to be nice. Even there's a great unsettling energy to him, and our lead actress. I keep going to say a different first name because I know someone else with the last name Loftus. What's her first name?
What, of the lead actress?
Yes.
You're gonna make me say the name again. I struggled with Aisling.
Aisling. All right, so Aisling Loftus.
What was it again, Ben? Sorry.
Sorry, you cut out.
A. She likes to call A for short.
Yeah. Don't want to just use her like a surname, like she's in an army regiment that I've somehow took command of. So Aisling Loftus is
Loftus.
She does a great bit of like the facial acting in particular that she pulls off, just the expressions when she's in a situation where she can't really say anything or doesn't want to say anything, just like looking with abject horror at some of these things that are going on.
It's the film where the horror of uncertainty is more so. It's more so about that than it is about anything you see, or even like when things are kind of revealed. It's not as it's that uncertainty that comes before it, which is unnerving. I found.
And just going back to talking about Sebastian, when talking with him about this and some of his inspirations, he pulled out some of the unsettling feelings that you get from other films that have like the child horror. So he brings up Don't Look Now as an example, even though it's the absence of a child that causes that horror. For me, it does give you the energy of things like the innocence. They haven't got the supernatural elements of things like Children of the Damned, but there is a degree of that. There are the way the children are behaving. There's quite an unsettling element to it as well.
One particular unsettling part: swimming pool.
Yeah,
something like that. Also, for two reasons. Number one,
get the leaves out, give it a sweep.
Get the first one, get the bloody leaves out, because I was just like, "There's no way I'm getting in that swimming pool." Like, horrible wet leaf going down your throat.
Yeah, and I don't know, horseplay in a swimming pool, people dunking people like that. The only thing that makes me more uncomfortable is people fucking about near the top of the stairs. Don't fight on the stairs, you idiots!
Don't fucking run! Don't fuck about. No petting, no heavy petting. Is that on the sign anymore?
I don't mind the top of the stairs thing.
Like, I don't mind a bit of heavy petting.
Or a bit of pushing around the top of the stairs.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't like the whole dunking in the pool thing. Like that. I don't know. That seems deadly.
So you get Jason.
That's how you get Jason. I went. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just telling such boring stories today, but I just went.
Another yoga story.
I went swimming with like years ago with both of my young nephews and my daughter, so they're all quite young. And
you dunking them?
They were all under my watch, obviously. And at one point, I think a few people were jumping in, and obviously everyone had armbands on. But I just turned around, and one of my nephews was just underwater with his eyes open, just like sort of treading water, but underwater, like. And I like lifted him up, and I went,
"You're doing it backwards."
What happened to him?
Why was he under? I don't
Jason
know.
Now.
Why was he under there? He's a Jason now.
Yeah.
He's only like 8, but he's a Jason.
Yeah, he's a big, like 6.5 foot tall hockey mask wearing lunatic.
That's all it takes. A couple of minutes.
That's that. Should we move on to the next one?
Yeah. Seek this one out. Like if you like, your domestic thrillers, if you like things that have like the horror of family and so on, it's a nice slow burn. It's good. You'll get some unique discomfort from this one, I think. Plus, like I say, director,
it's just the way
super nice guy, support the work. Yeah.
Pins and needles in one leg. I agree, Andy, definitely. The next movie is, now I can't say the name of this movie without remembering an iconic moment it's from a British soap, even though I've never really watched soaps, but I remember this moment when Kat Slater and her, I think it's her niece, are having an argument.
Zoe.
And the niece, Zoe, that's it. And she says, "You're not my mother." Silence, few seconds. And then Kat Slater says, "Yes, I am." Which is obviously an iconic moment. I hope that inspired the title of this film somewhat. I mean, I'm pretty sure it did. So this movie is called You Are Not My Mother. It's directed by Kate Dolan. The cast includes Paul Reed, Hazel Dupé, Jade Jordan. Synopsis is something strange. There's something strange happening in Ireland. Something strange has happened to Angela. Her teenage daughter Shar is convinced. Ever since her single mother returned home following an inexplicable absence, Shar has observed subtle changes in posture, personality, and appetite. Welcome at first, prior to her disappearance, Angela had been bedridden and an irresponsible parent. The differences soon become worrying, and as they would. So this is another film set in Ireland, which was interesting.
We've got quite a lot from the I guess a lot of Irish filmmakers are represented on. I'm not sure it's by particularly the publication company that were good enough to provide us with screeners, but it's been good. It's been fantastic. It's been great to see some different names, some different talent. But I tell you what, I watched this one just after I watched Let the Wrong One In, and I was given some whiplash from Fun Vampire
Oh,
Antics
yeah,
to someone
God.
whacking a baby on a bonfire in the opening moments here. But
You didn't laugh at that bit?
maybe I didn't take it as they intended with the right comedy chops. But I'm being frivolous. It's a very different type of movie. This one has a dark and serious tone to it, right? With a lot of. You're the folk horror expert of the podcast, Ben. You should describe this.
I'm the folk horror expert because I've seen that 9 hour long.
You watched that 9-hour documentary on folk horror.
I watched that 9 hour long documentary. I mean, yeah, it was a few sit-ins. I think the performance by Shar, Hazel Dupé, is like one of the best performances from a young actress I've seen. Like a young actress in the first film I've seen her in for ages. I was literally just like, she is so convincing. Like, you know, how many times in films, in any film of any genre, is there like a bully like narrative or a bully sort of plot thread that you follow, and you're like, okay, I've seen it, I've seen that, I've seen this. Do you know how watching the bullies in It, for example, how you feel when they approach and you feel like genuinely terrified, like almost more terrified from the bullies and what's going to happen, what the outcome of that situation is going to be, than the actual horror elements of those films. Like I remember, oh God, don't please, oh, what's going to happen? There's always one person in the group of bullies who seems to think murder's on the cards.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like the problem with film bullies is that sometimes they're unrealistically psychopaths, but then are the most prone to being stood up to. And it's Kelly in this one, right? Who's like, yeah, I'm gonna burn your face off.
Yeah. But I just think from Hazel Dupé, I'm hoping I'm saying her name correctly. It might be Dupe. Apologize. Whichever pronunciation of that is correct. I thought she was great. More so than possibly the lead, her mother's role. Although I think she was great as well. I just think the daughter character really carried this.
Yeah, it's a great central character, and as you say, for such a young actor to carry the emotional weight and the discovery of this film, quite a lot of screen time around. I would also give props to the one bully character that becomes a friend. I think the actor that plays Suzanne, is it? I think that is probably one of the more sympathetic and sort of layers. So it's Jourdain Jones. Yeah,
a lot of the characters have got great dynamic. Like that is something
a really nice change that you get, right? One of the more realistic things that you can get someone who is slightly antagonistic at first, but it isn't two-dimensional. You are a bully. It is someone who has their own things going on, and then they actually do warm to the main character. I think that's a really great dynamic between them, and it's kind of a lifeline for the character in the film.
Yeah, and I think there was a great dynamic between the main family as well. Like it wasn't your conventional family setup, and I think that was really interesting, seeing how those characters and how when the daughter character was unsure about what was going on with her mum, it kind of really did make that family dynamic shine. But yeah, and again, fear of the unknown as well, which is genuinely pretty scary. Reminded me in some places of Under the Skin, when obviously Scarlett Johansson is this otherworldly, what is she? What's going on behind those eyes? What's going on?
Yeah.
What are you? That sort of vibe.
I get a lot of I think visually some of the horrific things we see here maybe one amongst some of the visually most frightening films of the festival that we might have seen here. There is there's almost like a dash to some of the horror visuals of like a Cronenberg element to it, like particularly I know it's Brandon Cronenberg rather than David, but like there are bits of it facially that even get me kind of, and not in a reductive way, but just to give people who haven't seen this yet a comparison. If you've seen Possessor, some of the things that come about with the sort of facial features and the distortions get about this, it was really interesting. And a film that kept me guessing. I couldn't decide throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Until it all comes together towards the end. I spent so much time going, oh, this person's behind it, or it's going to be this, or it's going to be this metaphor for a thing, or is going to be supernatural.
Could have easily gone in a few different ways, and I think it would have worked in any way it would have went. But the way it went was a lot more folk horror, and I love it when films lean into various like myths and legends and stuff like that. Maybe like the myths and legends that aren't covered as much in mainstream media, particularly horror. The ones you kind of feel like you want to Google afterwards. Oh, what's this?
Yeah,
I guess without spoiling anything.
Would you recommend this one overall? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think in terms of, I think this was one of the nicest looking films. Like in terms of the cinematography was really good. As I said, the performances were great, and that mystery that was the centralized mystery in it was really engrossing as well. A lot of these films like kicking on at 90 minutes long as well, and I think we definitely realized that is the perfect length for like a horror film. I like the longer ones as well, but those 90 minutes, done, in and out.
I love a 90 minutes, and then it's a little extra treat when 90 minutes is your bar, and something comes in at 84, and you're like,
oh, hello.
I'll sit and watch the credits. Yeah.
Cheeky. So definitely recommend that one as well. Moving on, next was a sequel. I haven't actually seen the first movie of this, but I think you did, Andy.
I have seen the original, yeah.
So this is Wyrmwood Apocalypse, directed by Kia Roche-Turner, starring Jay Gallagher, Bianca Brady, Luke Mackenzie. It's the UK premiere. It's an Australian movie. Synopsis is: siblings Barry and Brooke join forces with fellow rebels to take on soldier Reese, the colonel, and the surgeon, intent on slaughtering their way through a zombie-infested wasteland to find the living dead cure. So Mad Max meets I say The Walking Dead, but even The Walking Dead's a bit Mad Max in places, isn't it? I guess Mad Max, but very outlandish, over the top. Playful.
It's quite playful. I wouldn't go quite so far as to saying it has, again, we've done Edgar Wright's Shaun of the Dead comparisons with the more comedy centric. I would say this has, I'm not just basing this on geography, it has touches of a Peter Jackson horror to it, like your brain deads and your bad tastes and so on. Like the gore is explosive, the pacing is really rapid, and it has you would be in no way mistaken in thinking that this is an Australian film, right? They lean into they lean into the exaggerated character tropes and the general aesthetic of what we expect from Australian media, I think.
I don't know what the budget was for this film, but they achieved so much. Like, never at one point did I kind of think, oh, now that's a bit cheap. I mean, it is very schlocky, but
deliberately so. It isn't like
yeah. But in terms of like costume design, it was like on point costume design, and like gore effects were pretty spectacular as well. I do want to go and watch the first one, but I feel like if you only see this one, I can't think of any other reason why you would, but you wouldn't really suffer in terms of it gives you a brief recap, and I think instantly you understand who the main characters are now and the dynamics between them.
You understand fairly quickly, and there's a lot of new characters built into it. I saw them in the wrong order because we got the screener for this and had a couple of days to watch it, so I jumped on it straight away and then sought out the original, having seen having seen this movie, because I wanted that additional context. We're not here to talk about the original, but I would recommend the original, absolutely. It gives
when did that come out? Only a few years ago?
A little while ago, I think, wasn't it?
A couple of years ago, 20, I'll bring it up. I want to say 2015, 2016.
Okay. But yeah,
2014. There you go. So neither of those years I just said.
Okay, a little while then.
2014. It's been out a little while. That one, the original, has the origins, and it gives you some of the additional aspects of the world, some of the Mad Max vibes, it explains those a little bit, and you're introduced to them as the characters do it. It begins from when the incident begins and when zombies first arrive, whereas this one is your later Mad Max movies where the world is already in a terrible state. One of the nice little elements of the world building in this one is that the incident that has incited there to be zombies everywhere has also rendered all normal forms of combustion and powering things, the use of fuel, made it all inert. So petrol doesn't work anymore. But thankfully, zombies breathe a flammable gas. So people so not only are these dangerous zombies that could injure you, they're a source of your energy. So you kind of, for the right characters and you're out there surviving in the world, you can interact with them and they're a resource for you as much as they're a threat. So there's a nice world to be had here. You could argue that the second movie in particular is maybe a little more focused on just over the top action than the first one was in terms of delivering story, but there is still a story there to enjoy, and there's a lot of great character interactions, as you said, Ben, as well. Big, over the top, no holds barred kind of set pieces and action that you're going to have in there, and there's loads of other interesting dynamics and mechanics to make for a really interesting world. I would go in for more of this. I would watch more of it. It feels like a universe that is ripe for all kinds of different forms of expansion. I would happily watch a short series in like an anthology piece that's set around this world and this building. You could write me a comic book about it, which I would happily dive in on and read. They've developed a really fun world and some great toys to play within the sandbox there. So I think this is a series that's got a lot of room to do more as well.
Most definitely.
What was your take on it, Ben? I've rattled through the stuff because I happen to have seen the first one. Anything you'd add?
No, I think you've covered mostly anything. I just had a lot of fun with it, and it's one of those films where it clearly borrows heavily from a lot of other things. You know, obviously Mad Max, but at the same time, it's just kind of one of those worlds that everyone's familiar with. You know, because we've seen all the Mad Maxes, so we know what to expect. But it's interesting seeing a different take on it. Interesting take on like the infected as well, and you know, not just standard entry level infected, big scary ones as well. Combinations of what do they get called? The woman who's like a
hybrids.
Zombie, hybrids, hybrids. Bloody words. So that's interesting as well. And yeah, the action's pretty spectacular as well. I had fun with it.
Yeah. Anybody? Do you want a round of name game for this one?
I was just literally about to say that, Andrew, but hell yes.
So in a post-apocalyptic situation where society, as we know, has collapsed, the group of survivors managed to stay warm on a chilly evening by just having a lovely bit of a bonfire.
Burn
Wood.
Wyrmwood, correct.
Wyrmwood apocalypse. I've bloody had a Wyrmwood apocalypse here. Is that what you got for me?
Yes, it. That's off the top of the dome.
Off the top of the dome. You got one, Luke?
No.
Oh,
nothing from the top of the dome. No. That's a difficult one though. Wyrmwood apocalypse.
It is, yeah. It sure is. Right, okay. Moving swiftly on. So this was the next day of FrightFest. So sorry, the Saturday. The first movie was Mandrake, which is the world premiere of that film, directed by Lynne Davison. The cast is Deirdre Mullins, Deborah Crotty, Paul Kennedy. Another Irish film, the third Irish film on the slate so far.
Probation officer. You've been you did a lovely interview with the director of this one. Very good, it was too.
Very an absolute pleasure to be joined by Lynne to talk about her film. Congratulations again on the success and the screening and everything like that. So a brief synopsis is that probation officer Kathy Madden is given the task of rehabilitating notorious killer Bloody Mary Laidlaw back into society after 20 years of jail. Kathy has always believed that every client deserves a shot of redemption, but her beliefs are firmly tested when 2 children disappear near Mary's farm. So another very folky folk horror. That's a official terminology there. Folky folk horror stuff going on. Again, another film anchored by some really, really good performances from Deirdre Mullins and Deborah Crotty in particular. Tackles some difficult subject matter as well, obviously killers being rehabilitated back into society after jail time, sort of like vigilante justice was sort of, and obviously, and then missing children as well, all very sort of like difficult subject matters to discuss, and also throw in a bit of a supernatural element as well. And it was a great combination. I think this was really good. How do you think? What do you think?
For me, again, it was it's quite a chilling scene, and I think you're right. Without spoiling anything that's in there, some of the considerations beyond, any supernatural folk horror elements or the direct violence and things that go on in the film, there's a really unsettling vibe to the whole thing, and there's other elements of horror as well. So Deirdre Mullins' character having a son that has what is a severely life-limiting condition, and her having that, as well as the strain between the relationship between her and and her son's father, and her and his new family that he's expecting as well. There's a lot of dimension to this, and there's a lot of really kind of not unpleasant that it wasn't good to watch, but there's like a really high tension in the feeling that everything that's going on, you feel like these are characters on the edge before the children go missing and the entire community is driven closer to like a breaking point with all the things that are going on. And it's difficult because this is a character who is, as you say, a probation officer who is looking to rehabilitate someone back into society that everyone is naturally quite suspicious of. And the character, Bloody Mary doesn't try to help herself too much either. There's definitely something that's
I'm suspicious of you getting rehabilitated back into society. Don't give me a reason to be suspicious of you. Oh, bloody hell, Mary.
And there's some really visceral scenes in this one. This is, again, we're talking about things that you would recommend this for if you want yourself some brutality in your horror and some really unsettling scenes to have to get through and get behind. This is probably the one of the films of the festival that would take your interest the most. And
one thing Andy. One thing that Lynne Davison said when she was discussing some things that maybe influenced this movie, and it was something that I hadn't quite thought about until she mentioned it, but now I'm sort of thinking back to the film. She discussed True Detective Series 1, in particular, obviously the one with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. That's not Woody the cowboy from Toy Story. Woody
That'd be
Harrelson.
a great take for True Detective though. Woody and Buzz.
I love the exactly. You are a toy. I'm not. No, I'm really not. So it reminded me of that, where it's almost like it's set up like it's a crime thriller at its core, similar to the way True Detective is, but there's like this looming specter of something potentially supernatural being at play, and I think that series of True Detective in particular is something that I realized that really does work, because you can watch it from one sense. If you're a horror fan, you can think this is a horror. I can't wait to see what is revealed, and you can watch it if you're a fan of like true crime and crime thrillers, and enjoy it for what it is, and maybe kind of like disregard the supernatural element where you're like, okay, it doesn't change the story for me.
One thing I liked from the interview with Lynne in particular, then I liked the way that she talks about the aesthetics of the movie and the things that she actually wanted to portray in terms of the folk horror and the supernatural elements. I believe she described it as not wanting like sparkly magic. So she doesn't want the kid, doesn't want the kids to go missing it to be David Bowie in his codpiece and his crystal balls jangling about the place. This is dirt and filth, and this is a real Wickerman situation, right? It's people using the earth and the nature of it and corrupting that nature with the supernatural element, and that's what I think leads it to be more unsettling, because yes, there are stretches beyond the reality, but it's embedded enough in real things and doesn't rely on someone saying alakazam that you can believe that these are things that you can see happening but you wouldn't understand.
I'd love it if she did just say alakazam.
Yeah, Bloody Mary dressed as the Sorcerer's Apprentice, making the brooms walk about and do all the mopping.
Yeah,
no, brooms doing mopping, that's always put me off.
It's like, yeah. Brooms doing mopping.
Why are they mops?
Taking a real distance. Hang on a minute. I ain't falling for this again. But yeah, I know what you mean. The magic in this is just like, I think at one point when they're doing some sort of ritual, there's like milk and I don't know, something just, I don't know if it's semi-skimmed or what, probably full fat.
Oat milk.
I only drink almond. Oh, you
bloody almond! It out. Son of a bloody vegan, get off me! And it's almost like, it's a weird word to describe it, but it's kind of like hopeless in parts, because you kind of feel like, okay, hopefully this will happen, and maybe this will happen, and hopefully this doesn't happen, and it kind of just keeps delivering all these
keeps chipping away at you, doesn't it?
Like chipping away at you, where you're just like, oh, that's
I mean, by all
horrific.
means, if
that's
you're
brutal.
Be in a good mood when you start this, and otherwise you might Padme it and just take a big deep breath out and give up on life.
Padme it. But yeah, I think a really like accomplished debut feature for Lynne Davison. It's got like some real great stylistic choices throughout it. Really impressive.
And I'm very excited. I could say this about a lot of the directors having premieres at this festival that we've seen, but especially having seen your conversation with her, Ben, I can't wait to see what we see out of Lynne next, because she seems like a filmmaker who has such a love and is so well versed in the type of horror films that I personally love. It was strange because some of the films she said that were the first horror films she'd seen at a young age were like all the same films that were like the first horror films I've seen as well. So I can't wait to see what she's coming with next. I know that she mentioned some projects that she couldn't talk any more about at the time, so between you and me, my brain is going circles speculating to myself about wonder what we'll see from her next, and I will be watching closely. Definitely. Very exciting. Anyone got any name game for this one?
I
got one off the top of the dome.
Go on then.
Go on.
I'm not going to connect it to the storyline of Mandrake in any way, but imagine this, right? Jeff Goldblum as Seth Brundle sets up his little transportation gadget. He gets in one teleportation pod, and in the other pod he puts a crumbly Cadbury chocolate bar and becomes Manflake. He just looks like a normal man to start with, but then he just starts crumbling. So I'll give you one. In a pulp hero sense, a master of magic spells and illusions causes enemies to crumble in fear and confusion.
Manflake.
It's still Mandrake, actually. Yeah, it's
Oh, Mandrake.
Mandrake the magician, aka the wizard from Defenders of the Earth.
Okay,
there you go.
I got another one.
Come on.
Everyone's got that mate, haven't they? Where they go, "Oh, mate, do you want to meet up tonight?" And they go, "Yeah, I'm definitely up for that." You go there, and then it's
Also
Manflake again. It's also Manflake. Oh, mate, I'm already here. I've got a pint waiting for you. Oh, mate, I can't. I'm sorry. Something's happened. God, you absolute Manflake.
Yeah.
That's if your friend is male. Or Manflake works as well.
Yeah, I can't do another one without being libelous, I don't think. Implying that rappers might be texting underage girls allegedly, and how you might react to that. But let's not get caught into that one.
Okay. What about if there was God's sake. It's Shrove Tuesday. And I was trying to think of a clue, and it just came straight in there. Pancake.
Oh, very good.
Pancake. Yeah. That's it. I think that's it. I don't think I'll put myself through another one. Okay, so that was Mandrake. The next one I feel like we're gonna have a lot to say about is The Ledge, directed by Howard J. Ford, starring Brittany Ashworth, Ben Lamb, Nathan Welsh. The UK premiere. Synopsis is: mountain climber Kelly captures on camera her co-backpacker friend Sophie's lifeless body being thrown from a ledge by four wrong-uns they meet earlier.
They are absolute wrong-uns.
And now she must run for her life, climb for her life, actually, is what I think you find. So yeah, this is like a thriller, I guess, rather than a horror movie, but yeah, obviously has some horror elements, but thriller, like where somebody is being pursued by the bad guys, and in this, the twist to this is that the bad guys are always like so close that they're in shouting distance, talking distance, taunting distance.
Oh, and one of them does a particular like heavy bit of taunting, doesn't he? Let's say beyond anything else, I mean, credit to you. Is it Ben Lamb that plays the main antagonist? Joshua?
I'm not sure, actually. Is it Ben Lamb? What were you going to say then, Luke? Sorry, you're just about to...
I don't remember. So the main antagonists...
Yeah.
Do you mean by antagonists, you mean the rapist guy?
But like the guy, like Ben Lamb, I'm sure in real life is a very nice man. Real piece of shit in this movie. Literally the worst bloke.
It looks like
he's
every movie he's been in has been one of those like Christmas, like royalist weird films.
Yeah,
like,
he's
Christmas Prince, a Christmas Prince, the Royal Wedding, a Christmas Prince, the Royal Baby, the Princess Switch. He loves it.
Maybe he wanted to be cast something different for this one, not get typecast as a prince. I also want to play rapists.
He's in now. He's saying, well, don't talk about princes, but allegedly being rapists. Like,
oh, he is typecast.
He has been bloody typecast after all.
Yeah. So, I mean, this guy is truly Mr. Red Flag the second he comes on screen. But I tell you something, like Brittany Ashworth as well as Kelly, are really like probably the best delivery of "fuck you" I've seen in a film in a long time. She really puts some gusto into it when she's climbing up there. It's like, just come down. It's like, fuck. She gets to that, but probably is her most frequent line in the movie.
But she does it. She like delivers it by like letter as well.
Yeah,
right?
She sends a letter that says "fuck you" as well.
She tweets him.
One of these. Fuck you.
There's some sign language as well, but he didn't see that.
Give us the memory card from that camera with the evidence on it. All right, I get it for you. Oh, it's just here.
Give us the memory card. Give us the memory card. Give us the memory card.
Stop asking.
You're going about a memory card. I've said no 14 times, but we will understand that somebody, Mr. Joshua, whatever his name, no, he can't take no for an answer. In the worst possible sense.
He's a weird guy. Like, so just so the audience know, the film is like basically she's running away, well, climbing away. She's climbing up this giant cliff face because she's a rock climber, and then she's being chased by other rock climbers who are trying to kill her because she has evidence of them killing someone else. It's like compulsively watchable. That kind of whole setup is really well put together. And then the main bad guy just starts killing all his mates like pretty quickly.
Yeah,
I get a feeling like he was just going to do that anyway.
Yeah, that was his plan.
Yeah,
he's like obviously an abusive, sort of controlling, manipulative shit, but not just to the victims, the female victims in this, but also to, I mean, his friends don't redeem themselves either. They are also all very.
One of them we're supposed to think is all right.
Yeah, because he kind of reluctantly goes along with the murder plan.
He's just emotionally abused, I think.
Yeah, he's kind of dragging his feet a bit.
They're scared of this guy, and as I said, I'm a lover, not a fighter. But I wanted to kick this guy's head in. I was like, I'd love to bloody have 2 rounds. He'd probably kick my ass. I don't care. I'll try and bite and claw and chuck him off the edge of a ledge.
Yeah.
If you were the nice character in that one that was dragging your feet on the mud, you should have just hammered his head in his sleep.
Yeah,
there's some brutal
kindest way to do it.
It just seems like any problem in this film, the answer seems to be murder somebody.
Yeah.
So like, bloody hell, this has happened. I'll murder you for that.
Oh, my tires are flat in my car. Come here.
Come here. No, you come here. I ain't coming to you.
I've woken up and my phone's not charged overnight.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah.
Passes the hammer.
Passes the hammer. Why'd you kill her? Or him? Phone wasn't charged. They go, yeah, fair enough, mate.
I mean, so the first one, we find out later on after the fact that he's killed the guy who broke his leg. The second guy he kills almost for no reason. I mean, I think he's peeing over the edge of the cliff, and but the guy, like, I'd already peed over there. You're dead beat, mate. That's my territory. That entire cliff. And the next guy, I could see why he killed him, but I mean, he killed him quite brutally with no spoilers, but hot flames.
It's an interesting movie. It's an interesting movie. I tell you, it's at its heart, it's a great, like, simple premise to come up with. Rock climbing, dead scary. It's real hard. And you could fall, and that's horrible. I think taking an environment which is inherently dangerous and then adding some horrid murderers to it, it's always going to give you like quite a thrilling adventure. Like the fact just existing in that location is quite a difficult thing anyway. It
gives the lead character some trauma as well. Obviously with her previously been to that mountain and her partner tragically died.
He fell from that rock face a year before.
Yeah,
she's gonna go and do it.
Climb it. And there are some fairly awkward flashbacks to them in like a climbing center, and her like 1 foot off the ground jumping.
I thought the awkward.
He gives us some like Yoda wisdom, doesn't he? About her.
But it's not Yoda wisdom. It's just like, you could do it. It's like a little chant, like Yoda chants.
Just motivational.
Come on, Claire, whatever her name is. Come on, I believe in you.
Yeah, right. I will come on.
Yeah.
Looks like Brittany Ashworth has got more of a less royal-centric Christmas movie background and more of a horror thriller background. So something called Exhibit A, that looks like that is an exhibit in a crime. Something called The Crucifixion, doesn't look like a religious movie. Something called Hostile, Accident Man, she's in The Gentleman. I don't know as a major or minor part, but
I gotta say, there was a really scary bit in this when like there's like a tent that like hangs from like under the cliff. That's like terrifying. You just sleep in there. You could fall out at any moment. I would not trust that would keep me up.
Are you a sleepwalker as well?
I'm not asleep. No, I don't sleep well. I sleep climb. I would have made it over the top of the mountain
Yeah.
before I'd open my eyes.
You'd have climbed past those guys while they were having that sleep, and they'd look over in the morning.
Dudes.
You'd be at the top.
Yeah, peeing on them.
Yeah.
Morning.
It is like there's some like toxic, easy for you to say. Toxic masculinity and misogyny is like rife, almost to like a pantomime villain. I know in pantomimes they don't do misogyny very much, but you know what I mean. It's almost to a point where it's so over the top that you're just like, do people like
he's
this exist?
behind you. I mean, he's up from you.
He's above you.
Up there. He's up
not
there,
not in society. I mean, physically at this point, we're not.
I'm going to kill her. Ourselves. Oh no, you won't. I'm going to kill her. Fuck you.
Fuck you. And then he gets his knob out and starts pissing. There's kids here. For God's sake.
It's a 4D experience pantomime.
Very nice. Yeah, so a good thriller, I guess. And climbing stuff's good, you know, like
it's fun.
Cliffhanger is always sort of stuck with me and affected me, like the thought of, oh bloody hell, 4 bloody miles if you just let go.
Yeah.
That is scary. That is scary.
It reminded me of this film I watched as well, very similar. It was about a rock climbing adventure between two friends that turns into a terrifying nightmare. After Kelly captures the murder of her best friend on camera, she becomes the next target of a tight-knit group of friends who will stop at nothing to destroy the evidence and anyone in their way. Desperate for her safety, she begins a treacherous egg and spoon race, and her survival instincts are put to the test when she becomes trapped with the killer just 20 feet away. I don't know if you guys know what that one was called.
The egg?
The egg.
The egg.
That does sound familiar, actually. Well, I didn't see that one. I sent my grandma to check it out from Blockbusters, and she went and accidentally got a film similar but with a subtle difference. So a young climber who previously had an exclusively meat-based diet, all of a sudden is faced by some wrong-uns who chase her up like a massive assortment of like carrots and parsnips and potatoes and cabbages. The
veg. That's all similar one.
Same but with potatoes.
Yeah.
The wedge.
The wedge.
Just chopped potatoes that have been seasoned.
I watched this film where this woman was being pursued up a rock surface by a WWE wrestler known as Adam. A WWE wrestler whose finishing move was a spear, and at the end he speared her off the edge, thus killing himself, which is a bit silly.
It's at the edge.
Is it also the edge?
It's also the edge, yeah.
Yeah. The guitarist from U2.
Yeah.
The guitarist from U2 chased me up there with his delay, but he had a delay in his climb. Wow. Any more?
I don't know. Okay, so same, but she's got a climb up of a big, like a small bushel. Bushes outside. Yeah, she's got a climb.
The hedge.
The hedge.
Yeah.
Final one from me. Because Disney will continue to expand, you know, having had the success of the book of Boba Fett stories, Obi-Wan coming up. This young woman who witnesses a murder runs into another Star Wars expanded universe spin-off about a member of Rogue Squadron, who's a little pilot, friend of Luke Skywalker. That's right, the Wedge. She gets him to help him.
Yeah.
Have you seen this? Have you seen the sequel to this as well? When she gets to the top,
ledges.
When she gets to the top, she just slides all the way down. And it's snowing. The sledge. The sledge.
The ledge and the sledge.
The ledge and the sledge. The sledge is much faster paced.
Much faster paced. 20-minute movie.
Chase movie.
Well,
we love it when you get a film title that rhymes with loads of things.
Rhymes with everything. Okay, next up, we've got the UK premiere of a French film. Some like it rare. I think it's called Barbecue.
Yeah,
also barbecue in some territories.
Yeah, also barbecue in some territories. Directed by Fabrice Eboué, and it stars Fabrice Eboué, Marina Foïs, Jean-Francois Cayri, Synopsis is: Sophie and Vincent have run the family butcher shop for a decade, but business is bad. So grim, it's on the brink of bankruptcy, and so is their marriage. But Vincent kills a vegan activist who has vandalized their shop. And when he butchers the body and his wife accidentally sells it, customers can't stop lining up for the tender cuts. I'm here for the tender cuts, please.
The tagline for this movie is "Your life is at stake."
Oh, very good.
Yeah, this was.
I like this movie.
Probably my favorite. Yeah, with what I saw. I don't know. It was. I feel like it had a bit of a budget to it. Like it felt very polished.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a Sweeney Todd story, and I love Sweeney Todd stories. But they work at a butcher's, and I love the whole vibe with them, kind of hating social justice type messaging or people who are that way inclined. It's just really over the top, and it gets more and more over the top as it goes through. And it's played to perfection by the lead male actor, who's a kind of dopey looking guy who doesn't know what to do with his life, and he kind of becomes this over the top serial killer towards the end.
I love the actor that plays his wife as well. She is so brilliant in this entire movie, and I think it really speaks to the value of the performances here. That my French is by no means fluent. I am reliant on those subtitles to fully understand this movie, and yet I was not taken out of the delivery at all. About the delivery of these lines and the way the comedy lands, and effectively when some of the comedic lines are there, I'm reading what that line is, but I still get the delivery from the personality from both of the lead characters in this one as well.
Yeah, it's
just so tightly done. Like, it's really well dialogued. Some of the montage scenes later on are excellent.
So many montage scenes. It's almost like, I reckon they filmed loads of kills for a montage. They're like, we've got so many good ones. Let's just whack them into three montages. At various stages of the film. It's almost like it represents them getting more and more confident with the kills as well, doesn't it? It starts off as like, kind of unsure, murdering, and then by the time we get to the last one, like they're fully embracing it.
Well, the murders get so stupid. There's a guy who's like wanted to do yoga, and he's like, he bends his head down and puts his head between his knees, and they're just looking at him with a giant double-barreled shotgun.
Yeah, after he's like annoyed them, and it's like, would you mind going somewhere else? Because this is my favorite place to commune with nature, and you're polluting it by eating meat here. And they're like, okay, we'll be off then. Bye.
It does seem to like send up both sides of that argument, doesn't it? Like, it does make fun of like vegan activists, yes, but it does also make fun of like the other side of like people who are like, oh, you what? Where'd you get your protein from? I'll eat nothing but meat. I'm going to eat all this meat just to spite you. So yeah, it does sort of, it takes aim at both sides, and I do quite like that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. And there's that scene where I think you talk about sending at both sides when the daughter's boyfriend comes around and talks about some of those. So I just want to know, I heard about what happened to your shop being vandalized. I don't support that kind of militant vegan activism. It's a personal choice. But then the daughter's like, well, I'm also not eating meat, because if I kiss him after I've eaten your meat, then it's like, okay, then what about some cake? It's like, there are eggs in cake. How would you feel if someone came and took your eggs from you every day? And it's like,
and there's that guy complaining in the little protest bit in the town centre, and he starts off as like reasonable vegan, why you wouldn't want to eat meat, and then it gets more and more I just don't like the taste of urchins. Who eats urchins?
You're putting lemon juice in those oysters' eyes. The wife eventually gets ruined by just screaming, "Do you want to see my pussy?" at him, and he's like,
"Oh yeah,
okay, I'm going."
Yeah. It's like a weird sort of twisted love story as well, like them rediscovering this spark for their marriage that is like long died out by essentially murdering people and turning them into.
It ends a bit weird though, doesn't it? Because like they have like a bit of a showdown fight at the end, but then it seems to cut ahead, and they've been caught, and they're now famous true crime
Yeah, because there's a bit where the lead actress is watching this guy who hosts like a true crime TV show,
Yeah.
and that is how when it does end, it shows them. I guess we're
Yeah.
spoiling it, but it's still a good time.
Yeah,
It's a really good film. Yeah,
I'd recommend this to anyone. I haven't read up where it is widely available yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It should turn up on some platforms before too long. If not, genuinely, I enjoyed this so much that I would say if you have to end up ordering yourself a copy on physical media, do, because I think this one's incredibly enjoyable. I want to seek this out and watch this one again.
yeah.
And maybe even
definitely.
see things that maybe even look into some other things that the actors have been in, because the comedic performances of both of the leads is so strong.
Yeah. So I think Fabrice Aboué might have done like stand-up comedy. I'm looking at some of the stuff he's released, and it looks like some possible stand-up specials, maybe.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously he's got a knack for it, and I think the comedy is delivered in such a way where it is pretty hilarious. And even like the supporting cast, there's like some really colorful characters amongst the vegan activists as well. And also there's a fantastic song used whenever Vincent, whenever he decides to go badass. And it's something like, what is it? Something about a gangster. Something about a gangster.
Yeah, I'm a gangster.
It's like the same song.
I'm a gangster. Yeah. And it is, and it has the desired effect each time, which is this is awesome.
It's so good. We're getting increasing amounts of like fairly new releases of French cinema in like on Netflix and so on nowadays. So it's worth keeping an eye out on there to see if anything comes up. But yeah, greatly enjoyed this one.
Yeah, it's a bit similar to that film where Sophie and Vincent's small clothes shop is on the brink of bankruptcy, and their marriage is falling apart. Their lives are turned upside down, and when Vincent accidentally kills a sheep who's trying to vandalize their shop, then overwhelmed and terrified of being accused of murder, their only solution is to get rid of the sheep by turning it into woolly jumpers. Do you remember what that one was called?
Some Like It Where?
Close.
Some Like It Where? Woolen. Some Like It Where? Is it the rare word?
No. Some Like Knitwear.
Some like knitwear. Very good.
Oh, that's good. That's very good. I apologize. That was super.
I apologize.
That was superb. If anything, it was great.
Any more?
I don't know if I've got one. You got one, Andy?
Yeah. So a couple run a wig shop, which is going out of business because there just aren't enough bald people around. But when they kill, so they accidentally kill a bald activist and use his body hair to make to make a series of wigs that are popular with customers.
Wigs. Series of various wigs. I like it.
Yeah, he's a hirsute man.
This one is two people who run a butcher shop. They get a celebrity come into the shop. You never guess what? They've accidentally killed her, but that's all right. They're just gonna butcher her, and and turn her into sausages. Just hope her former singing partner Sonny doesn't turn up, because I reckon he'd recognize
some like it share.
Some Like It share.
Very good.
Oh dear.
We got next, Ben.
So this next one is going to be the last film we discuss. It's the international premiere, and it was one of the last films shown on the Saturday during FrightFest. This is the movie Monstrous, directed by Chris Siverston, starring Christina Ricci, Santino Barnard, Colleen Camp. Laura, traumatized by an abusive relationship, finally runs away from her former husband with her 7-year-old son, Cody. But in their new, idyllic, and remote sanctuary, they find they have another bigger and more terrifying monster to deal with, one that will test both their mental health issues to the limits.
Yeah. So this one is all 50s America kind of vibe. lots of doo-wop music. In fact, some of the music was actually great.
Yeah.
Doo-wop,
like
doo-wop, that kind of thing.
idyllic Americana suburbia, isn't it? It's
You can
like,
just imagine there's like a milkshake shop.
Yeah,
on the
everyone
corner.
loves a malt,
Malt, yeah,
around there.
it's
And then
the 50s, how everyone looks back on it when they go, oh, 50s was great, wasn't it? It's bloody lovely.
Yeah.
They never mention the bad stuff, the social injustices and all that stuff. But you know,
none of the they hadn't invented forks by then.
no, they
The
had
forks
sporks
in the
there.
50s. Yeah,
Sporks they had, but that was
Sports Day. Remember that?
Sporks Day. That was my favorite day of the school year.
construction of this film, I love all the work they do with the color and everything like that. And the monster effects that we get are really good.
I said the monster design was kind of awesome, wasn't it? I mean,
horrific. Yeah,
the sludgy faced thing, whatever it was, hugging the kid. Yeah, really great
Christina
design.
Ricci, that's not very nice. I'm sorry. I will say Christina Ricci in this film looks spectacular.
not aged a day.
I mean, I think I always had something of a crush on Christina Ricci, but maybe it's dulled over time. It came straight back into the forefront of my mind watching this film. I was like, bloody hell, Jesus Christ. In the 50s as well.
All the way back then. She doesn't
All
age.
the way back then.
She doesn't age.
She hadn't bloody aged. I was like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say my tastes are really specific, but Christina Ricci in the 50s, Jesus.
Oh, that's a
Well,
10 out of 10 from Ben.
Yep.
What about the film?
there is
Genuinely
obviously-
quite creepy. And I loved the aesthetic that lent into it, like the dialogue between mother and son. It's got such a sweetness to it, but that undertone of the something not being quite right as the monstrous effect and the reveals start coming in there. The repetition of that advert that we get as well is deeply unsettling.
Oh yeah, she's like watching
Like a Hot Point
Creature from the
advert.
Black Lagoon style film as well, and she's in it. I noticed that it said at the end it was a film produced by Chicken Soup for the Soul. I mean, do they make horror movies? I thought they were like a self-help book thing. Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Oh, I didn't recognize
Yeah.
that.
Maybe they're leaning into some of the, without spoiling
Chicken
it, some of the
Soup
themes
for
of the themes
I will
of the
take your
movie.
soul.
I
Yeah.
will take your soul. Obviously, we won't spoil it, but there is a central mystery and a twist that is revealed. Did you see it coming? I felt like
No.
it got to a point, and I feel like I saw it coming.
No.
It was either one of like two things, I think, wasn't it? But I think it was well executed.
Yeah.
I was too dumb to see it. I didn't see it come in.
No, I
don't
really,
know,
I
just
really
the
enjoyed it. I
this
thought there was going to be
perfect
something, but I couldn't tell
picturesque-
what.
The fact it was so perfect and picturesque, I was a bit like, okay.
Yeah.
And the fact that there was this history that she was kind of like running from, I kind of thought there's going to be something there that isn't quite right. So in my head, I was like, this could be one of two things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was well executed, great central performance, and
I think probably the most if we talk about reasons to recommend it, like obviously with the star power that this movie has, most instantly recognizable in terms of broadcast, absolute,
of course.
Someone who we haven't seen maybe so much since shooting to fame as a child star. Great to see someone still getting it, still really putting in really solid performances and interesting monster dynamics. I think this is another one that's worth seeking out. There is nothing I've watched in this thing. I'm not just saying this because it's nice to be nice.
Guy.
Like
It's nice to be nice.
There's nothing I watched that I was like wasting my fucking time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Yes. It was a bit like that film. There was also at the festival, the secret film. It's playing a little box room to the side. They only let one person watch it at a time. It's about a traumatized woman fleeing from her abusive ex-husband of a young son. But in their new remote sanctuary, they face an even bigger, more terrifying bus/catchy earworm of a pop song. I think it might be Andy's favorite song.
It's not a Venga bus, is it?
The Venga bus.
Venga bus.
There's a Venga bus.
Andy's
You've got to
favourite
watch
song.
out when it's coming.
Everybody
Everybody will be jumping.
everybody's jumping at the same time.
Yeah, it's full of jump scares in there. Like it's just violin stings and cats jumping through windows.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we're gonna do like a mini awards ceremony, the horror hangout, FrightFest Glasgow 2022 mini award ceremony. We've got some categories here. So
What are our awards going to be called, Ben?
Well, I've only got.
What do you call the statues? The ghoulies.
Hangies.
Yeah. What are the statues?
The
REIT. No, can't be that.
The Reed Good Awards.
The REIT Good Awards. What would the little statues be?
I think it's got to be like a little. It's got to have something to do with the name of the show, like hang.
I reckon just a perfect mold of a nude Luke Condor.
And we'll call it the ghoulies because then you grab it by the ghoulies. Yeah.
Also, you're a bit tucked in like Buffalo Bill.
A bit tucked in.
You just got like comes with like a little skin cape that you can put on it. Accessories.
Skin cape. That's a little accessory.
Yeah, I like the grabbing by the balls thing. So maybe the handle of the trophy is the testicles.
Yeah.
So you have to take it by the balls to accept the award.
And if you squeeze it hard enough on the belly, just a little guff, just a little one. Just a little one. There's only one that you can only do it once.
Yeah.
Then you've got to bring it back. You've got to bring it back to the manufacturers to get it recharged.
And that's paid for, obviously. That's how we get our
That's how you get the money for the festival.
Tiny little canister.
So what's your first category, Ben?
I've just got first category, best fright. I mean, it's called Fright Fest, so best fright. It doesn't have to be a particular scare, maybe just like a scary moment.
I've already mentioned mine, and I'll just say it wasn't so much like a jump scare, but it was the hanging tent idea. The tent you just hang against the ceiling miles and up, and you just get in it and just go to bed.
So that's not a particularly horror centric scare. It's just a scary.
Well, I think it's baked into that whole film, that vibe of rock climbing horror.
Could you reckon you could settle down and have a lovely night's sleep there?
I thought you could just settle down and start a new life in there.
In the tent. This is where I live now.
A couple of bags of Monster Munch up there.
Give it a memory card. Fuck off. Yeah, that is a pretty terrifying
ceiling tent. We'll call it a ceiling tent moment.
I would give my biggest scare to probably Monstrous, when quite often you'll see in a film a monster being near you or being under your bed, and maybe you'll get a fright and it'll try and get you. In Monstrous, there is a scene where the monster pretty much gets in bed with the little boy and he's in the blankets and everything. It's horrible.
Yeah. And he wants like a hug.
Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest scares.
I just want to hug.
Hugging something.
Yeah,
he's agoraphobic.
Yeah, I just don't like contact. If people could avoid touching me, it's very upsetting. I'd much rather be sleeping hanging off a cliff.
So I'm going to give my biggest fright to the metamorphosis of the mother character in You Are Not My Mother. The final metamorphosis, I guess. It's just a bit. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but reminded me of the witches. Particularly, maybe I'm scared of bald heads. Maybe you're scared of something, of the thing that feels closest to home, aren't you? So maybe that's right. Scared of bald heads. Something about that is a bit freaky, and I just think that metamorphosis and the way she was sort of shouting after her daughter.
Oh, when she's running down the street, yeah, that's horrible.
It's something that could appear a bit ridiculous, but it was genuinely unsettling. So
what about the scene, Ben, when she's moshing about in the living room inappropriately? Should have a Papa Roach on, but she hasn't. She's just got like some lovely dance music on, but she jumps so hard that she hurts her ankle.
Bloody hell, we've all been there. We've all been at home listening to Drowning Pool, and that's happened.
She's stomping on that floor like she's Stone Cold Steve Austin, and she does it too hard.
stomping like Shawn Michaels when he's getting ready to hit Sweet Chin Music. I thought we were going to see Sweet Chin Music out of nowhere then. My God. Yeah, so that's the biggest fright from everybody. Next up, I've got best performance from anyone in particular in these films. I can give you an actor name if you're not 100% sure. If you want to
I'm kind of torn between two, between Deco in Let the Wrong One In.
Yeah.
And
He's so good.
also, I mean, this might just kind of show off what I look for in performances, but also the main guy character in Some Like It Rare.
Yeah,
I just found his whole kind of perplexed demeanor for the first half of the film really funny.
Yeah, it's like it's a great comedy performance without being like out there at all, really, is it? Like it's not
over the top, like it's
not loud.
He's so
Very
put
subtle.
upon. Fine, if Luke's allowed to, then I'm gonna take two as well. I would go either Deirdre Mullins from Mandrake. Such a physical effort goes into everything like that. Like genuinely, she seems like she is in true discomfort and peril, crawling out of some of those situations. It's a real gutsy performance. I think it's phenomenal. Actually, totally buy her as a probation officer as well. And then secondary to that, I think it can only go to Some Like It Rare. But then Marina Foy, I guess. Apologies if I pronounced your surname wrong there, but brilliant. Like the comedic chops of her as the really one of the driving force for some of the actions of the movie. Like when they're falling out as a couple and she's very matter of fact, and I'm sorry to say, but we are separated now. And then when she makes him sleep in the other bed, and just the little comments she makes and the way that she drives it forward with the whole movie, and I think a comedic timing on it, like it's a great double act. It's really hard to separate the two, but as you've already mentioned, the male lead, Luke, I think we might as well round it off with that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna choose something from You Are Not My Mother as well. Seems like it had a bigger effect on me than I realized. But Hazel Dupé, who plays Shar, the lead role in that, I just really bought it. I really bought her sort of, just everything about that performance. It just felt like a real character in a real, like, lived-in world. And as I said about the interesting and unconventional family dynamic as well, she kind of slotted into that. I was really, really impressed, and I was genuinely feeling I understood the peril towards the end of the film as well. I think maybe like the finale of You Are Not My Mother kind of felt like the best ending to any of these films for me as well.
It really comes together strongly, that movie.
Yeah, so lovely. Next up, we have got Best Director. So I'll just, I guess, with that, we just want to say we won't choose our favorite film, but which one do you think was the most accomplished direction-wise?
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking about like, so in Some Like It Rare, just the choice of like having the murder montages displayed parallel to like wildlife footage.
Oh yeah.
And then ending, so like the lion's like eating the gazelle, and then there's a tiger jumping out of a tree, and then there's the lion just having sex with his wife, his lady lion, and then cutting to him doing the exact same kind of movements in the bed. I don't know. To me, that's just like really greatly chosen direction.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. So that was directed by.
It's directed by Fabrice Eboué, who plays Vincent.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he's getting double awards for acting and
double awards,
direction
man.
for you.
Walking away with it. The FrightFest Horror Hangout Awards. Gets 2 little Lukes to take home.
Yeah, 2 little ghoulies.
Or
totally, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like in the interest of choosing something choosing something different. I think it doesn't take away or say that I disagree with Luke's pick, but I think then from a direction point of view, it's probably for me then worth calling out. He says stalling for time while he makes a decision. You know what? I'm going to do the thing that you mentioned actually, Ben. I think from a cinematography point of view, You Are Not My Mother has some really great thematic shots from not only film direction and the way they've got a lot of really strong performance out of the actors side of thing as well, but some of the framing and some of the things, like I knew from the moment that You Are Not My Mother comes on, this opening scene that you get with kind of like a deserted street with like a pram and the shaft of light coming down there. That's one of the things that you see an image of a film, and it's, you know, on one of those accounts that's like one perfect shot or whatever, like technically put together. Like the cinematography on it it's a phenomenal effort, and I think it's really great. Have you got the name in front of you, Ben? Or should I pull it real quick?
So the director of You Are Not My Mother is Kate Dolan. I will also mention a short film that Kate Dolan made in 2017 called Cat Calls, which I watched as well. It's just like 9-minute short film. It's about a man cruising around at night looking for action, and he pulls in to ask 2 young girls for direction, but he has picked the wrong girls. That's all I say. Just watch.
Oh, I have to check that out. Is it on our website?
Because what a title that is as well. Yeah, on the website. Cat Calls. That's a great title. Like that's the kind of, I just see the title of that, and I feel like you know what you're in for.
Mm-hmm.
You know exactly what it's going to be about. Yeah, definitely, and it's great because I think I'm guessing this is a debut feature. Possibly, yeah. It looks like it's a debut feature. So yeah, a very accomplished.
I'll have to check that out. Have you got a different pick for your direction choice, Ben, or are you just agreeing with us?
I mean, I agree. I agree with both of your reasons for that. I think because I spoke directly to Lynne Davison, I kind of feel like I've got a bit of an affiliation with that film more so because I'm trying to understand, and I do really like folk horror visuals. And I think this film, so for Mandrake, it just did well at sort of combining that true crime with the horror visuals. Yes, it feels a bit True Detective. Yes, it feels a bit Blair Witchy. It's just this like Irish pagan horror world that I just felt really invested in. And I think the performances definitely helped that. But getting a chance to speak to Lynne as well about it, I think has given me even more enjoyment of this film there. So
I think I got a lot from speaking with Sebastian as well. I mean, I don't think I'm going to change my ways and start demanding to listen to directors' commentaries, but if I could just have a chat with the director of every film I watch, I think my star ratings are going to go up by at least 1 star for every film I enjoy. Once I've had a little chat with the director, and I get
what makes you tick, director?
Especially if they're really nice, like the 2 people we interviewed were.
Yeah, so I'll give best director to Lynne Davison for Mandrake, and it looks like the last. So we're going to just go for best film now. Our favorite film.
Do we just count to 3 and then say the same one all together?
Yeah.
Oh, I think mine are a bit obvious now.
Okay.
But that's
3, 2, 1. Some Like It
Rare.
Oh, really? Like It Rare.
Wow.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. I was blown away by it. I loved it so much.
Probably kind of weird because I didn't choose Some Like It Rare for my other awards, but I just think as a whole, this film just gets it so right. I think for me, Let the Wrong One In is probably a close second in terms of, I think I'm just judging these two as like how much I actually actively enjoyed it and was thinking about it afterwards. And Some Like It Rare is an unexpected treat because even from reading the synopsis, I was a bit like, okay, let's see what you got. And I was chortling and guffawing,
smiling throughout from the second they're on screen. It's just so well done.
Yeah. Really, really good. And really, and the dynamic between those 2 characters, 2 lead actors as well, is great.
But saying that, you know, not as a cop out. Genuinely, I think a really strong festival lineup.
Oh yeah, like I enjoyed something from all of them. It was a interesting sort of like diverse range of filmmakers and films and subject matter as well, and clearly like some differences in budgets. So I think it was a nice cross section of, and obviously not just British horror as well, international horror. So good to see all of the films we got to check out.
FrightFest, excellent. Glad to see them return to real life cinemas. Look forward to seeing their future events. Hopefully, we'll get the opportunity to cover some of those.
Yeah, that would be good.
Again, right? I did have a couple of name games prepared for the festival in its entirety.
For the festival in its entirety. Okay. Interesting.
So a long-running club of individuals. They get around. It's the first time coming back out into real life for obvious reasons. For the last couple of years, they have not been able to do this in real life because of social distancing. These people just love to hoe down and have a lovely chomp on people's chest areas.
Right chest?
Bite chest.
Bite chest. Bite chest or bite breast, I would go for on that one.
Whichever one you like, mate, really, isn't it?
Next up, a festival has to be cancelled, unfortunately, because there's a horrid infestation of parasites. They've made a little home in the cinema where you're meant to be watching your films.
Mite nest.
The mite nest, correct.
Also, you can't. There's no point going to that festival at that time because there's a bunch of planes going over doing some kind of,
flight
display. Flight display.
Flight test.
Flight test.
Flight test. Oh yeah.
And the pilots from that one, really, really poor uniforms, just really shoddily quality kind of string sleeveless tops.
Shite vest.
Correct.
And also because of that, it's their mental health, it doesn't play very well with them. It makes them
tight chested.
Tight chest.
That's good
tight
as well.
Chest. Gives them a tight chest.
A little bit not relaxed. Let's say.
No, tight, slight, a little bit not relaxed, slight stressed.
Quite stressed.
Quite stressed.
That makes a lot more sense.
Oh, dear. Very good.
All done. The only ones I can think of are the ones you've already done.
Yeah, all the rhymes are just rattling through my head. Yeah, I think we've had enough.
Yeah, we've all had enough.
A bumper episode because we've covered more films than we've ever done before. I hope people like this kind of thing. If you do like it, let us know. We'll do more of this kind of thing.
Yeah, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. Something a little bit different. Obviously, thank you to all of the PR and press contacts that allowed us to see these films because we didn't attend the fest. We would like to attend something like this in the future. So we'll be looking out for that. So thanks to Signature Entertainment, thanks to Witchfinder, thanks to 101 Films, thanks to Sapcar PR, Anderson Group PR, Organic Publicity, True Colors, and Screen Media. Cheers.
And I think the big takeaway for me as well is I really enjoyed talking to the directors about their films, what they wanted to do. If you're an independent film director, you'd like to come and chat to us about what you're doing, get in touch. Have your people call our people, by which I mean Ben.
Or just have a little interaction with Andy on Twitter because he's always there. He's always willing to engage. Me, not so much, bit more cagey. What's that? Oh, give me a break, mate. I'm joking, of course. But chat to us on Twitter. We'd love to. We'll talk horror with any and everyone. Not everyone, but someone.
Wow. Well, you guys did a Patreon exclusive episode, bonus episode this week, right? So
if you want to listen to that, off. So finally getting around to talking Texas Chainsaw, the new one.
Yeah, a little bit later than we initially planned, but it's on Patreon. It's on early access now. But if you listen to this podcast at any time after, like, I don't know, 20th of March 2022, it'll be on all channels, all platforms.
All channels, yeah.
Go and have a look.
But these crazy cats get us to it already. Lane Spencer, John Crennan, Ben Scaife, Stephen Christopher, Toby Miller, Laura Kendrick, Scott Rigby, Ollie Child, and Pazuzu. So if you too want to listen to that episode early and join those cool, crazy people, then head over to patreon.com/horror hangout and pledge from as little as $1 a month. That is right, Ben. It starts at $1.
Yeah, it starts at $1.
Starts at $1.
Starts at $1, ends at bloody however much you want. What's that? You want a couple of spooge $1 million?
Sprites.
Yeah,
Couple of cans of Sprite.
you want to spuff $1 million our way, then you get on board.
Spuff, splooge, splat, spaff, spunk, splat.
Just kind of spaff your pants all over our Patreon account. You could do that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, please do. In fact,
please, I mean, do what you want in the privacy of your own home, but you don't have to include us in that.
Yeah, you verb your money as your conscience dictates towards us, and we will gladly happily and gladly take it and trade you for some bonus content.
Did you say dick tits? Oh, dick tits, sorry.
Anyway. So yeah, thanks to Go Back to Cam for theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Please consider rating and reviewing. Thanks to my co-host Ben and Andy for being Right Horror Dudes.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Thanks,
Luke.
guys.
Thank you very much, Andy. Thank you very much, FrightFest. Until next time, next week. Until next week.
Until next
week,
everyone.
And then is it X next time? Hopefully.
Yeah, X. I think we're gonna try and do X if we all get to the cinema to see it.
Yeah. It's actually called X. We're not going to insert the film name in later on.
Yeah.
Film is X.
Yeah, everyone cover your mouth so you can ADR it. X.
Cool.
Nice one.
See you later, everybody.
Guys.
Bye for now. Bye.